So good evening, everyone. So tonight there's a plan to offer a guided meditation. Also, this Wednesday lines up with our lunar observance night. It's the Uposatha, moon day. And so give the opportunity for the support team, if they wish, to request the 3 refuges and 8 precepts. That opportunity is there after the guided meditation. And in keeping with the extra caution that we're exercising right now, we'll just do the very, very brief chanting at the very beginning. And then if you do request the 3 refuges and 8 precepts, if you could first of all please see that you're keeping some sort of social distancing appropriate for the occasion. And I request that you keep your chanting low volume, so it doesn't need not be loud, because it's about the heart and the mind, not the loudness of the voice. So, and then before we start, I want to make a dedication. I know the other evening we dedicated our practice to our dear friend Alan Nicholson. He was a caretaker here, and that he sent a message saying that where he works as a care worker, there was a outbreak of COVID-19 virus, and that he and his colleagues, 2 colleagues, were looking after 5 people living there, patients that all had COVID. But Alan sent word this evening that now he has it, and so he's at home isolating. But I would like to extend that out beyond Alan. Of course, we'll keep him in his mind because we know him. But the millions of people around the planet right now who are experiencing this, and it's something to contemplate, to recollect, and also to, he's a care worker. There he was, putting himself on the line, trying to help people. And so there's also millions of people doing that right now, putting themselves on the line, putting themselves forward to take care of other people. So let's just recollect and dedicate our practice for their well-being. So. Supatipanno
Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho, the Blessed One's disciples who have practiced well, Sangham Namami, I bow to the Sangha.
Now let us say preliminary homage to the Buddha. Sorry, I forgot the Pali. Andamayang Buddhasa Bhagavato Puba Bhaganamakarang Karoma Se. Now let us pay preliminary homage to the Buddha.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Kasame Bante Mahatero Detu Dhammakadam Kadetum. If you haven't done so already, please find a posture that you can sustain for a reasonable amount of time without moving. If you're seated on a chair or mat or cushion or bench, it doesn't matter. What matters is finding a position that is comfortable enough. a position that helps promote relaxed alertness, relaxed attention. That balance between relaxation and attention, poised. Looking at it slightly more technical way, it's helpful to have your shoulders, your arm sockets above your hip sockets, and your ears, the ear canal in line with the shoulder, the arm sockets. And that's not dependent on what you're sitting on. That's in all types of seat. And if those three things are lined up, then all the natural curves of the spine and neck can function more easily, more harmoniously. It's good to check also to see if you're leaning sideways. Really try and find that center point, that physical center point. So we're upright, but we're relaxed, not using any more energy or tension than is needed to maintain this poised posture. We're at the end of the day here in England. And usually at the end of our day, no matter where we are, many things have come through consciousness. Many exchanges, things we've seen, heard, and so on, done. So it's natural for there to be an imprint or impression, an echo of our day lingering in consciousness. Now we can all just stop adding to that. Be still. Be quiet. Let those echoes fade away or fade more into the distance. Perhaps settle. Going back to the body generally appreciates our attention. So we'll just gently sweep through the body from the crown of the head down, slowly checking for any residual unnecessary tension, any stress or tension holding, and releasing. Released if you find tension. So working across the top of the head, the scalp, onto the forehead. Especially around the eyes, just relax all those muscles across the face, cheeks, around the mouth, the jaw. Are we gripping? Whole face, all around the ears. Now moving down the neck. Just checking. Giving attention to the body, with the intention of releasing unneeded energy. From the sides of the neck down to the shoulders, those long muscles. Just let the shoulders hang. Now continue down the arms. All along the arms, working our way down from the shoulder to the elbow. The forearms down into the wrists and hands and fingers. Release. Relax. Returning back to the shoulders or the upper torso, and now moving down the torso itself. Across the front. Release the rib cage, allow it to breathe freely. Allow it to respond to our breathing process freely. The abdomen. Really allow the belly to relax. Now do the same down the back. And just using enough muscular energy to keep us upright. We obviously can't relax completely, otherwise we might slump over. And try and use a core energy, the energy more inside the core of the body to hold us up. Along the sides of our body, from under the arms down to the hip socket. Just enough energy. No more, no less. So around the hips, hip sockets, we start to get into larger muscle groups. Relax as much as possible as we move along the legs, knees, along the lower leg. Just keep relaxing through the feet, all those muscles in the feet. And just for a few moments, try and hold the whole body in our awareness as a relaxed, poised but relaxed entity. From the top of the head, right to the toes. It's all connected. And as we're doing that, begin to notice the movement of the body because of the breath, the breathing process. That expansion and contraction. As we breathe in and breathe out. Let's allow our attention to rest there for the next few minutes. Whatever part of your body you find most comfortable to notice the breathing process. To allow your attention to rest there. And if the mind wanders, if the attention wanders, then that's the place to return to that part of your body that you do find most comfortable. Just this simple noticing, breathing. So far this evening, most of the instruction has been around the body, setting up a posture, a posture that supports stillness, relaxation, gentle attentiveness. But what about the heart and the mind? As I said earlier, that maybe from depending on where we live, this is the end of our day. Not just this day, but accumulations of things that we experience, encounters that we have. Sitting down still like this, sitting in a state of stillness, that doesn't stop the mind or the heart. And the way I have learned and the way I approach it is that it's not about stopping the heart or stopping the mind, but noticing, clearly seeing, letting it flow, letting it settle, letting it move, not being stuck, not having things stuck in our heart, stuck in our mind. The things we experience, they leave an impression of some sort. On a basic level, it's either pleasant or unpleasant or somewhere in the middle. Also, at the end of the day, sometimes the mind can be quite active and potentially agitated. But I find one way to help the mind and heart settle is to choose a theme, a Dhamma theme, as taught by the Buddha. And to actively reflect on that theme, to use those teachings for reflection, which is what they were meant for. And having something tangible in the mind to recollect, to use, to reflect on the experience, the present moment experience, that in itself can have a great settling effect. Not always, but that's been my experience, that it actually it's an aid in settling. Not to mention the discernment, wisdom that can arise by understanding phenomena, understanding experience, learning to let go of experience. Using these tools to develop peaceful heart, peaceful mind. in all conditions. Develop the unshakable peace, not the peace based on conditions. During meditation like this, one of my, I suppose you could say, favorite or frequent themes is to recollect the 5 hindrances. Buddha gave us a lovely list of five ways to look at things that hinder us, hinder our tranquility, our settledness, our development of wisdom. So within this list of 5, the first is sense desire. So as I'm sitting, I ask the reflective question, well, is there any sense desire present in me right now? At this moment, not any other moment. Human beings are sense beings. We're born into that. We have senses, and in Buddhist practice there are 6 senses, so the sense of the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and the intellect. So I'll just slowly reflect and ask the question, do my eyes seek anything right now? Is there any sort of sense, desire present that I'm seeking through the eye? Of course, now, for those of us who meditate with our eyes closed, as I generally do, the answer is very, very quick to come. Through the ears. Am I seeking any sort of pleasure through the ears, or am I trying to avoid sound? Am I being irritated by sound that's entering my consciousness at this moment? Maybe there's some sound in the hall or outside the hall. Am I seeking for that to end? So right there, that would be me seeking pleasure by getting rid of sound. It falls within the same category. And through the nose. Just slowly working our way through the 6 sense bases, checking, not in a tight way, but just asking that internal question, checking, looking through the tongue. Obviously we're sitting quietly, so we're not off seeking food at the moment, but maybe we're having thoughts about food. Memories, recollections, hopes for tomorrow, something to eat or drink. And through the body, and this is the one I find where it starts to get interesting for me in meditation is if I'm feeling uncomfortable or painful feelings in the body, it starts to get more active for me. So I take a look. See what's there. And then the intellect is also, I think, for a great many of us, where we start to see things. The active mind, the mind remembering, the mind planning, scheming, you name it. Trying to get rid of thoughts. This is a great pitfall in meditation, that trying to annihilate, throw away, push away thinking. So the question, what do we do when we see these things, see desires, is not to, here again, not to kill them, squish them, push them, but to recognize what's present, to recognize that it wasn't always present. To notice it moving. Perhaps fading away right there within consciousness as you're looking. We are sense beings. This is nature. This is natural. So the problem is not the desire, it's the grasping at that desire. Taking action based on that desire. The energy to get rid of desire is also clinging to desire. Clinging to trying to get rid of it. And the second hindrance is often translated ill will, as ill will, hatred, aversion, hostility. Take a look. Is there any of those emotions or thoughts in the mind and heart at this moment? Could even be directed towards ourselves. Very common. And if we do see that present, then give space around it. Compassionate view. The gentleness, the kindness. And soften. These are natural human emotions. Moving along through the hindrances. The third is often translated as sloth and torpor. That drowsiness, lack of energy, lack of interest. Sometimes it can just simply being physically tired or mentally tired. Such a natural state of being. But sometimes it's not just physical, it's a mental depression. Take a look. And that taking an interest in it can often lift us out of it. It's a wholesome interest. maybe we have something heading towards the other end of the spectrum with our fourth hindrance of restlessness, worry. I'll use the Pali term for this one, udacha kucha. Even the words, they, at least in me, they invoke or paint a portrait of restlessness. Udacha kucha. Is the mind flitting around, unable to settle. Emotionally, are we all over the place? Here again, not to judge these things, but to recognize, because that's a massively important starting point, is to know what's present. Take a look, a gentle look. Here again, this compassionate interest in our inner world. Are we worrying? Worrying about things we've done, worrying about the future. This is so natural for human beings. This is where I like to apply and reflect on the teachings of impermanence, of uncertainty. How much of what we worry about actually comes to pass? The way things change. That's why I really appreciate that so common phrase, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. What are we going to do? Let's cross that bridge when we get there. And our last of the 5 hindrances is doubt. That lack of trust. sometimes people, and understandably, just look at it and doubt around practice, spiritual practice, around teachings and teachers, but really doubt, it's it's an energy that, or a heart state, mind state, which is also uncomfortable. Doubt about anything. Although there is a form of doubt that's quite useful, not taking things on overly easy. Ideas. It's good to have just a investigative attitude. But when we get caught up in doubt, grasping at doubt, dwelling in doubt, a heavily conditioned tendency towards doubt, it's very uncomfortable, and it's a hindrance. This is where trust, sometimes referred to as faith, not blind faith, but balanced trust based on reflection and investigation, experience. So, having worked through these 5 hindrances, to repeat, to be gentle if we see the presence, if we notice the presence of any of these hindrances, not to feel something's gone wrong, and if we do feel that something's gone wrong, I suggest not to believe that. We are human beings. We have feelings, we have an intellect, we have our conditioning, our temperament, we have our experience day to day, moment by moment. Stuff arises. We are affected by what we experience. But using a teaching like this, we can take a look and relax, release, let go of the grip that we have on those thoughts and emotions. So we'll just sit quietly for a few more minutes. So being a lunar observance, day and night, intentionally offered a bit more, sort of a combination between guided meditation and reflection. So there's a lot in there in terms of content, a lot of speaking. And this is just one of the teachings that can be used out of scores of teachings. Taking one of these lovely teachings, these lists that the Theravada tradition. Well, it's not the only tradition that has this, but it's very very clearly laid out. And maybe take a simple list and use it for reflection. Trying to help each of us understand the teachings, how to use them. As I said earlier, these are reflective teachings that the Buddha left behind. It's not a belief system, not just information. You learn the teaching and then reflect on it, use it to reflect on our own personal experience. So we'll keep the live stream going, and perhaps people at home, if the lay team's going to request the 3 refuges and 8 precepts, perhaps people at home wish to determine the 8 precepts for the day or for the rest of the night. Feel free to join in. So, if that's going to happen, this is an appropriate time. And if it's not going to happen, it's an appropriate time. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tisarana gamanang nittitang. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Brahmacharya veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya majapamadatana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Vikala bhojana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Nacha gita vadita visukadasana mala ganda virepana dharana mandana viputsanatana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Uchasayana mahasayana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Imani atta sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Imani atta sikkhapadani silena sugatinyanti silena bhoga sampada silena nibbodhinyanti tasamasilang visotaye. So being the Lunar Observance Day, we've all had the opportunity to recollect, refresh our commitment to the ethical side of our practice. And it's those reminders. And now we live it. So that's the key, is to live it. The reciting is one thing, obviously, we all know that. And the living it is the really crucial aspect. So let's all keep living it, keep going, placing attention on that aspect. This Dhamma Vinaya, ethical conduct, and the more the reflective side, the reflective teachings. So because of the upcoming vigil that we'll have on the 16th of this month, Lumpur Cha death commemoration, the 16th, because of that late night vigil and circumambulation tonight, this is a lunar observance night, just a short, we'll end the evening now, and tomorrow morning and tomorrow evening we'll just have the regular morning and evening gatherings. There's no extra sessions during the day as per the schedule I had put up on the board. And but the retreat continues. Now we've had this lovely opportunity this last 7 days to hear teachings from Lumpur Sucitto, and take this opportunity to express gratitude, Lumpur, for those offerings, and a lot of food for thought, a lot of reflections, and we can. I think we've all gained a lot of momentum for the retreat because of that all day long, from early until late, sitting and walking, reflecting on Dhamma. And now we can carry that through into the next phase, more solitary retreat time, more open schedule, and but the practice continues. So, okay, we'll just close with the closing homage and then call it an evening. So. Teaching so completely explained by him, I bow to the Dhamma. The Blessed One's disciple,